I'm sure you will look for a black spot in that. Every junction, you will look for a black spot in this. But the moment you go to that junction, you feel it is white. Suddenly the other center will become black, and you run there and there is no black spot. So there are no black spots, but still you feel there is a black spot. I'm sure you will feel a rotation in this. Can you feel? It's revolving or rotating. But the moment you go and focus onto the center, that circle will become stagnant and all others will start rotating. You try to do like that. Can you feel that? You keep on rotating, but when you go to the center, focus there, it becomes stagnant and the other one will rotate. Actually, there is no motion. It's a standstill slide. So what does it mean? We all have to deal with color. Its composition, reproduction, or evaluation at some point of time. Whether you are a designer, or whether you are a printer, or whether you are a physicist, whether you are a chemist, we all have to deal with one concept that's called color. I'm sure every day you come across hundreds of colors, and dealing it is not so easy. When we talk about color, specifically dealing, three things are very important. What are those three things? I classify this as three kinds of contrast which happens in the brain. Actually, I was inspired to develop this presentation after attending a standardization seminar conducted by one of his colleagues, his friend, I can say, from Germany, one Mr. Dieter. He spent a lot of time in understanding all this. He's not a big scientist from a university or anything, but practically he did a lot of work in this line. He was mentioning about what printers should look into, why we should talk about contrast. Maybe on the specific concept of contrast in printing, Mr. Kepler will tell you in the later of the day. So my job is to give you some of the fundamental science behind it in an understandable way. So three things happens in the brain which are very important to a printer or a designer or an advertising specialist. These are, number one, simultaneous contrast, successive contrast, and mixed contrast. These are the three things. It's keep on happening in the brain. Whenever you see something, whenever you deal with color, these three things happen. We'll try to understand what is that. And why these theories are important to a graphic specialist. Because you are the people, you are going to decide upon what color to be used, how it is to be used, what combination to be used. And the problem with printers like us, we have to reproduce it the way you want. It's not an easy job. Because any printing machine has got some limitations. So what is the limitation we will try to understand? Because your ability when it stands somewhere there, the ability of the machine is somewhere here. It's the most difficult task for a printer to make you happy. And making a designer happy is the most difficult task for a printer. So your brain works in a very creative way. It's not just scientific, it's more of creative. So accepting a creative mind or convincing a creative mind is the most difficult task. So these theories are very important to understand for a designer, for an advertising expert, or for a printer. In fact, this fundamental theories on this contrast was developed by a French scientist called Chevreul. He talked about the law of simultaneous contrast years back. What he was telling was, when you keep two colors side by side, the background of that color, how this is going to